Chess is the game of unlimited beauty, but it's not just checks and attacks. You have to be creative. This is what Garry Kasparov said on his masterclass, and I 100% agree with him. If you're considering improving your chess skills, becoming more creative when deciding how to attack your opponent, you need to watch this video. Because in a few moments, you will learn tons of new ideas, plans and tactical strikes that can help you to take right decisions in your own games. This is FIDE Master Viktor Nestroyev, and let's learn some chess creativity from Garry Kasparov and his game played against Vasily Topalov in Wijk aan Zee in 1999. The first game we start is the game between Garry Kasparov and Vasily Topalov played in Wijk aan Zee in 1999. That's a very beautiful game, and Garry Kasparov played excellent. Of course, he made a few mistakes, but Vasily Topalov also made them. Okay, let's analyze the game. E4, D6. So Topalov is usually a Sicilian player, but against Kasparov he decided to play D6. It can start Philidor or Pirc defense. D4, Knight f6, Knight C3, then E5 and G6, two different openings, Philidor or Pirc, and Vasily chooses G6. Bishop e3. One of the best ways is to castle queenside and then start the attack on the enemy king. Here C6 and Bishop G7 are two most popular moves. I think C6 is better, but Bishop G7 was played at that game. And Garry plays Queen D2. The idea is obvious, to castle queenside and start the attack on the king. C6, F3, kind of a preparation, and also the move that stops Knight G4. B5. Black starts the attack on the queenside in case if white castles queenside. And in this position, of course, white can castle, white can play G4 or just A3, but Garry decides to play more strategically. He plays Knight G2. This is a more flexible move. Knight BD7, and in this position it's possible to castle, but again Garry plays Bishop H6 with the idea to trade the bishops. And of course Topalov took on H6, then Queen H6. For example, if not, if black castles, what I expect, I think many club players would play in similar positions, then just H4 with a strong attack. For example, E5, Bishop takes G7, King takes G7, H5, Knight H5, then G4, Knight F6, Queen H6, G5, Knight goes to H5, and after Knight G3 we are opening the file and trying to checkmate on H7. That's why instead of castling, just Bishop takes H6, Queen takes H6. Bishop B7. Quite a passive move. Maybe Queen A5 was a better option for black. That could give some counterplay. For example, in this position we can't castle because of B4 move. However, Bishop B7. And A3 played by Garry. He decided not to castle, at least for now, because then Queen A5 is coming. E5, but castle queenside. Queen to E7. So what do you think? How to play here for white? I think it doesn't make sense to advance the pawns on the king side, because it's obvious that black is going to castle to the queen side. That's why Garry plays another plan. He plays some kind of a prophylactics. First, he does King B1, and second, he wants to get his knight to a better position, either B3 or D3. Castle queenside, Knight B3. He takes D4. Doesn't really matter what to take with. After C5 we have to retreat with this piece. Rook D4 was in the game, C5 Rook D1, and Knight B6 with the idea to play D5. So I think black did everything to equalize the position. However, Garry continues with G3, with the idea just to activate the bishop to H3. king b8. Maybe slightly passive move. Maybe d5 was a better option. But okay, king b8. And knight a5, which I think is not the best choice. I think it was better to play bishop h3 and then rook h to e1 to be prepared for d5. But okay, knight a5, bishop a8 and bishop h3 now. d5 first, queen f4 check, king goes to a7 and then rook h to e1. If here black takes, then we are fine. F takes on e4. And if, for example, knight e4, rook d1, bishop takes e4, then just pin. And after this move, rook takes e4 with the idea to play queen to c7 and then gain this knight on b6. Or even knight c6 with a checkmating idea on a7. That's why here, instead of taking, black plays d4. Now the knight on c3 is hanging. And what do you think Gary did? He played knight d5, incredible move. What's the idea? To open the e-file and to attack the enemy queen on e7. So knight takes d5, e takes d5, the queen is hanging. The only option to play is queen d6, because he also needs to keep the protection of the knight on f6. And now, if you want, you may pause the video and try to find the move that Gary played in this position. If not this move, then I would say black is better, because the pawn on d5 is a weakness. So no, it's not queen d6 and rook e7 after that, and not knight c6. It's rook d4. What's the idea of this move? If, for example, he takes on f4, then just rook f4 and the knight is hanging, then rook e7 is coming, white is better. However, here c takes on d4 was played. Instead, Vasily Topalov could play king b6, the move that could equalize the position, or maybe even allow black to get a slightly better position. Of course, if black then plays properly. For example, he attacks on a5, b4. Of course, this rook is not hanging. King c7, and then after queen a7, this is a checkmate. Bishop b7, king b7. You see, this king has no c8 square because of the bishop on h3. So b4, he takes on f4, rook takes on f4, knight takes d5, rook f7, c takes b4, e takes b4, knight takes b4, and then just knight b3. The material is equal, but black pieces are located slightly better. However, I don't believe that black can have real chances to win. I believe in such a case the game could end in a draw. However, king b6 wasn't played. Instead, Vasily Topalov accepted this sacrifice. He took on d4. How to play? Queen d4 or rook e7 was played by Gary Kasparov. Why? Of course, the rook is not hanging. This is how he joins the rook to the attack. Because if queen takes, then queen takes d4. The only move is king b8, then queen b6. He can't go to c8. This square is under our bishop's control. He can only block either with his queen, and then he gets a checkmate on c6, or with his bishop, and then after knight c6 he can go to the corner, but queen a7. This is a checkmate now. That's why the only other option is to play king b6. This is what happened in the game. Well, in case of king b8, I believe after queen d4, it's almost the same thing. We're threatening with queen a7. And if queen takes rook, then queen b6, just the same position with a different move order. So king b6 was played instead. Queen d4, king has to take on a5, because if something like that, queen c5, we just take on f6. So king a5 cannot be played, because then we fork him. That's why queen d6, but bishop e6, this is the key move that I think Gary saw at that moment. It cannot be taken, because then queen d4. So, for example, f takes e6. Queen d4, and if queen c5, then just this move. And he loses a queen. If king a5, then you can see the idea that happened in the game. It's almost the same. If bishop d5 in this position, then just b4 and then queen d4. So the idea is that the king is restricted, the 7th rank is cut off. Okay, fine. So queen c7 doesn't work, king a5 was played in the game, then b4, king goes to a4. However, in this position, Gary played queen c3 with the idea to play queen b3 and checkmate, but that was a mistake. After that, black could save the position. What was the winning move here? The winning move you may find on your own, but if you can't, then it's rook a7. What's the idea? So actually, the idea is to deliver a checkmate by playing somehow queen b3. The enemy queen can stop us from doing it, but the queen has to protect the a6 pawn, otherwise he loses it. So, for example, knight d5, and then queen b2, threatening with queen b3, knight c3, queen c3, bishop d5, and after king b2, the game is over. You see, the king is trapped here, and this is our next move. So he does this, for example, we take, he takes, and then queen b3, bishop takes b3, c takes b3, nice checkmate with 3 pawns on the edge of the board, on the a file. So we are down 2 rooks, but we were able to checkmate the enemy king with just 3 pawns. So the best move after rook a7 was bishop b7, but even this move didn't help. Rook b7, queen takes d5 to control the b3 square, but then rook b6. So we are okay even to sacrifice the queen, because then we checkmate. How to play in this position? a5, for example. Just rook a6, rook a8 to protect this rook, and queen a3. For example, if here he takes, just king b2, and there is no defense against this move. A takes b4, a takes b4. And now there is no defense against queen a3 move. If he takes, then queen c3, king a4, and queen a3. This is a checkmate. Too complicated, and maybe Gary was in a time trouble at that moment. That's why he didn't find it on the board, and instead of winning move rook a7, he played queen c3. Queen takes d5. Rook a7, now threatening to take on a6. Bishop b7, rook takes b7, he can't capture with the queen, he gets a checkmate with queen b3. That's why he plays queen c4. No, this is how Veselin plays to trade queens, because with no queens the risk to be checkmated is really low in this position. But queen f6, still threatening to take on a6. What can he do? He can only save the position by taking on a3, but it doesn't work. Queen takes a6, check. The only move is to take on b4. How would you continue this attack? Gary played c3. If king b3 doesn't change anything, we just play queen a2 and force him to take on c3 with the king. If he takes here with his queen, then his b5 pawn is hanging. For example, like that. What leads to checkmate. So, if these move, then at least we can gain a queen by playing rook c7. So he took queen a1, king goes to d2. Well, here king b4 doesn't really make much sense. Then queen b2. If he goes to the a file, then we checkmate him. If he goes, oh, for example, if he goes to a5, we can play queen e3. He has to block, and then rook a7. At least we gain the queen. If he goes to c5, then we gain the queen immediately with rook c7. So king b4 doesn't work in this position. He plays this move, king d2. Queen b2 check. If now he goes to e1, then we can join the rook to the attack and checkmate him. That's why king d1 is the only move. So can you imagine it? The king was originally here, but then it moved to d1 through this way. a4, a3, b4, c3, d2, and then to d1. Of course, it was impossible to calculate everything, and I think Garry Kasparov in this game mainly used his intuition. However, we are down the exchange in this position and one pawn. How to checkmate? The game is not over. And here Garry again finds the best move. It's bishop f1. What? If queen takes, then queen c2, check, king e1, and rook joins the attack. He can only block, but that's it. Checkmate. And in this position, Topalov finds the rook d2 move. So the idea is that if white takes this queen, then black takes this. And it should be fine. But instead, Garry pins this rook with his other rook that doesn't participate in the game right now. And there is nothing better than to take this rook. Then bishop c4, we're still threatening with a checkmate. That's why he has to take this bishop and sacrifice the rook on h7. So finally they pass to this endgame, which is definitely winning for white. They played a few more moves and then black resigned. Rook d3, queen e8, c3, queen e4 check, king goes to e1, f4 to save the pawn, f5, king c1, so the king got to the queen square of the c pawn, so it's able to stop it. Rook d2, and after queen e7, with the idea to play queen g1, black resigned. So, fantastic game, and Garry played really well. Of course, he made a mistake and could allow black to draw the game at some point, but can you believe it that in this position he calculated rook d4 and found that there was a checkmate. So can you sacrifice the rook and then checkmate or gain the material? So he decided to use his intuition while he was unable to calculate the line to the very end, but was lucky that Topalov made a mistake. Okay, fine. In this video you watched the analysis of the most beautiful game I've ever seen between Garry Kasparov and Topalov. Thank you for watching it. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel and share it with your friends chess players. In this game, Garry Kasparov didn't get any opening advantage, but if you want to force your opponent to defend starting from the first moves, I highly recommend you to watch the video about top aggressive chess openings on the screen next, and I will see you there in a moment.